Don't know business, you must be out of your mind. We talk about system of business, not just a business. Imam W.D. Mohammed. Dear believers, Muslims, brothers and sisters, all, peace be unto you as we greet in Islam, Assalamu alaikum. We thank Allah, that is God of all the worlds, the Lord, Creator and Lord of all the worlds. We thank Him for our presence here. We witness that He is one for all His creation and for all people. And we witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed, is the seal of the prophets, the last of the prophets, God's servant and His messenger, and a mercy to all the world. And we thank Allah that this religion has reached us in America, and we have accepted it, and now we are in harmony with the spirit and letter of this great religion revealed to Muhammad in the Quran by way of the angel Jibreel, Gabriel as they call him. We're thankful to Allah because this is the greatest thing that could ever happen to any people, for them to get religion correctly from God. We didn't get it easy. We got it the hard way. But so did the people of Moses. They got it the hard way too. They were in bondage. They were under Pharaoh. And Moses, as a child, a baby, peace be upon him, was sent up the river or down the river. But he went up because he went to a kingdom. He went to a great kingdom, the kingdom of the pharaohs. He was sent there and he became one of the workers in the upper level of leadership for Pharaoh. And God made him know his calling eventually. And when he separated from Pharaoh, the trouble started for him and his people. They were already in bondage, not Moses, because he was sent where he could be free with Pharaoh. But once he rejected Pharaoh, then he was in the same situation with his people. And God guided him over a long period of time. He was guided, and finally his people were delivered. They were free from bondage, and they were free to have their own life and their own establishment, their own culture, their own life, their own establishments. And I don't think God intends less for us. Not all of us, but God has blessed a few of us with a religion, Islam. That is our heritage. And I hope you understand this, some of you do. Islam is our heritage, our natural heritage. It is not only our heritage by history. History says that many of us were Muslims when we were brought over here as slaves. I have pictures from the newspapers that my father saved showing slaves with the turban on, Moroccan style turban on, being sold on the auction block once they were brought here to these shores. So we know there's much proof that many of us were Muslims. So if we have an African heritage that we want to not lose, isn't it much more important to not lose our Islamic heritage? So this is not just a religion for us, or a conversion for us. This is is an opportunity for many who had their heritage taken away by force to live in the life that they were in before, to return to the life that they were in before. That's according to history, according to the teachings of the Quran, God, and according to the teachings of Mohammed, his servant and messenger. Every human being is born a Muslim. Now, by that definition in Islam for Muslims, you should say Islam is my nature, Islam is my natural rights, Islam is my inheritance. Does that make sense? I think it'll make sense to Einstein, to Dr. Du Bois, and to a fool, half insane, locked up in an institution. Now, if that makes sense to you, you ain't with what is right. Praise be to Allah. Yes. Now, I want to have just a comment or two before giving you my presentation for this time, for this occasion. This community is making me so happy. I'm telling you. Everywhere I go now, almost, just about everywhere I go, I may see something, looking sloppy and like his half dead or dead. But everywhere I go, I see bright eyes, bright spirit, dignified people going after class. And that makes me so happy. I don't know if you all know me, and it's hard to know me, because I will take off class and put on a R-A-W, a raw man's dress to get where I think we have to go. I'll do that. And I'll be just as happy in the raw as I would be all dressed up in class, as long as I know we're making progress, going where we have to go. That's me. You all know me, many of you know me as a religious man. That's wonderful. I want to be known, firstly, as a religious man. But religious man in Islam is not always religious man in other religions, especially Christianity. And Christianity, African American or black people style. A religious man in Islam is a man like Mohammed, the model for all Muslims and all mankind, really, according to our scriptures. And Mohammed was a businessman before he was the prophet of God. Mohammed was a rounded man. Muhammad, the prophet, prayers and peace be upon him, he was seen sweeping floors, helping his wife clean up the house. He was seen shopping for his own food in the markets. So why should I be different if I represent the office of Muhammad the prophet? If I represent his office and every man that claims to follow the Quran and his tradition, you are representing, whether you know it or not, the office of the Prophet Muhammad. So if I am representing his office, shouldn't I be like him? If I don't have that nature, I should pray to God and try to take on that nature, where I can be comfortable sweeping floors, comfortable going shopping in the market for my own things. We can't say we follow him and then reject his lifestyle. He didn't have the lifestyle of those who love pomp and glitter of the world. That was not him. He was far from that. But he was not the kind of leader to impose his taste on other people. understand that Mohammed began with few powerful people as his companions. God blessed him to have a few powerful people as his companions before he became a prophet. So when he became a prophet, they remained his companions, and they were the best of the people to follow him. Like the Caliphs, Abu Bakr, we call them Caliphs now. Like his companions, the Sahabas, Abu Bakr, Ali, Uthman, Omar, great men. He blessed him with those men. But the mass, the majority of the followers were poor people. The poor. I don't know if you have heard the story or seen the movie about Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. The ones who wrote that story, they were looking at Muhammad the Prophet. And Ali Baba is supposed to be Muhammad the Prophet. And the 40 Thieves means his followers. So this is a criticism, this is a negative thing, this is a ridicule of our prophet and his followers, his first followers, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. But at least they had to tell the truth about his purpose. He wasn't out to get riches. If you saw this movie, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, or if you heard know the story, he was not out to get riches. He was out to help those who were oppressed by the rich. And he did help. He took from the rich and gave it to the poor. And that's what zakat does. And the leader that followed Muhammad, he said, I will go to war with you if you do not give zakat. That's what he said. May peace be upon the companion of the Prophet Abu Bakr. He was a mild man, but he said, I will go to war with you if you refuse to give zakat. Now that was right after the prophet had been among them, walking and talking and living and working for them. What do you think happened over a period of centuries now? What do you think the people are doing now? They have left Islam, and they're calling themselves Muslims all over the world. They have left Islam. Very few Muslims in the Muslim world. Very few are leaders, Muslim leaders are in the Muslim world. The great majority of them have left Islam and are living like their ancestors were before Islam came, living like thugs, gangsters, con men, oppressors, etc. That's the state of the Islamic world. Not coming from me, this is what they say about themselves. And what I know about them, I study them. Yes, so this is not the only negative I have to bring you here today. One learned imam that I admire so much, I pray for him. I pray for Muhammad, prophet first, and then after him, I pray for this man. And this old man told me once, he said, Wallace, you know, the beginning of our religion is a negative. So we have to say a negative before we say a positive. It begins with la, no. Ilaha illallah, no God but God. It begins with a negative, to establish a positive, to bring in a positive. And God is my witness, I'm going to bring you negative. I'm going to come from the negative. But I'm coming from the negative so that we can be more positive. Praise be to Allah. Now, let me congratulate you hosted this, for the imam who hosted this event, and the organizers and planners and organizers who initiated it, and the beautifully clothed models that have given us this wonderful fashion show today. I don't know how they look without these garments, but in these garments they look pretty enough for me if I'm home. Yes, crude. I'm glad I still got a little crudeness in my life. If I don't have any crudeness in my refinement, I won't be a complete human being. My God is my witness. I've never pursued anyone that I didn't marry. God is my witness. And I'm afraid of marriage. So desire is here, sisters, but I won't be following you home. Yes, I have nothing to be ashamed of. If I can have something to be ashamed of, I go to Allah with it. As soon as I recognize that I have something I'm ashamed of, I go right to Allah with it, just like that. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I was once threatened by somebody. They said, well, you want me to go public with this? Trying to get me to do something they wanted me to do that I shouldn't have done, and I didn't want to do. I said, go public anytime you want. I said, get on the 6 o'clock news and let me know in advance so I can be watching it. I said, you help yourself. No, can't blackmail me. No, sirree. I won't do a thing if I'm not ashamed. If I'm ashamed to face the people, I'm not going to do it. Because the people's wrath is also God's wrath. God's wrath is through the people and through your own nature. Yeah? So I know not to do anything that'll bring the wrath of the people on me. If I do that, you won't see me. If I have to fall to that level where I'm that weak, you won't see me. I'll be gone. Say, well, he's missing. They don't know whether he's dead or alive, but he's been missing a long time. Yes. So I want you to first know a little something about me. But I think I should tell you a little something about my father first, that many of you don't know. The first restaurant that the community had, the Nation of Islam had, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad opened it, and he managed it, and he made it successful. My father, and your leader you admire so much and love so much, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The first grocery store we had was opened, managed, and made successful by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The first butcher we had was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he told us, he said, I went to the market, and I told them, I said, if you will show me how to make the meat cuts, I got a following, and we will do big business with you. He said, the owner said, no problem. So he put the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on an apron, and then he showed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the cuts of the meat, the cow, and showed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the chart all the meats, and then demonstrated to Honorable Elijah Muhammad how to make those cuts. And he gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the chart that he was teaching him from. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad took the chart and hung it up into the facility that he had bought with our money, because it was the community. Honorable Elijah Muhammad was supported by beautiful, wonderful people. He didn't have an outside job. He didn't have to, because he didn't have to have any work outside or try to get money from somebody, Arabs or somebody. He didn't have to do that, because the pioneers loved him so much, they would give him everything they had, and even suffer if they had to. But they wouldn't suffer. They suffered only the loss of money and the loss of the convenience to have certain things. But they didn't suffer. They were so happy doing that. Happy doing it. That's the kind of followers he was blessed with. And a man that would lead the people the way he led the people deserved those followers. You say, well, why didn't you tell us those things when you were back there telling us that he was wrong? Because I first had to tell you he was wrong to break his grip on you, so I could take you where you had to go. It wasn't my pleasure to tell you anything bad about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That was never my pleasure. It was what I had to do. Now that it's over, we should lift him up, because he was much more a Muslim than he was not. He was a believer, and a courageous believer. If he had had the knowledge that God blessed me to have, there would have been no need for me. You hear me? That man could have done it. So I miss him now. I wish he was with me. But I said, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you can whip ass, and I don't like doing it. Now see, don't say he used a curse word. I will use, but I'll tell you the picture I had in mind when I said ass. A dumb, stubborn donkey that bark on you when you need him most. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad didn't tolerate that. He didn't tolerate people disrespecting their posts, disrespecting their job, disrespecting our investments, disrespecting what we want as a life. He didn't tolerate it. I can be patient and pray for you and keep looking at you next day, look at you, see if you improve a little bit. And even if you go back, start going back, I'll say, well, they're going to come forward after a while. Sometimes I hate that side of myself. I wish Honorable Elijah Muhammad could be resurrected and whip ass. He was a strong man. Nothing could deter him. Nothing could turn him around. The world, threats of putting him in jail, the FBI, nothing could turn that man around. Suffering, imprisonment, suffering the lack of the goods of this world because his followers were extremely poor in the beginning, 30s and 40s, and the 50s too. Change only came in the middle half, the last half of the 55 and on up. Big change came. Yeah, but nothing could change him. Big shots coming from across the water to question him on what he's teaching. They sit there, and he said, brother, you just don't understand. Nothing could turn that man around. Now, if he hadn't been that kind of man, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. Yes. So, now that we are over the troubled waters and we're on the land where we can see what God wants us to do with our lives, I want you to know my Father. When the 60s came and he was getting old, he said, we have to make a material show so our people will come to us. So he went after material things. And to get the material things, he knew he had to have men who wanted the material things. So the leadership changed from humble, spiritual, God-fearing, God-loving people. That's what we were in the 40s, in the 30s, in the 40s, in most of the 50s. To those who want the fancy things of the world. he pretended to be pleased with them because he needed to use them to get his material work done. I came from out of prison myself after doing about 14 months in Sandstone, Minnesota. For what same thing he got 5 years straight for. And he did it. 5 years, including the jail time he actually was locked up for 5 years. So I came out, and when I saw this new group of leaders, this is negative, I told you, I was telling you all my friends, but for the sake of having more positive in this community. Not for the sake of negative, no. I looked at them, I said, wow. So these people are different. This is not the same nation of Islam. They had big shiny rings on their fingers, long leather coats, long fur coats. Not just the ministers, but also their wives. Well, I can't tell you everything. There's no need. But God used me to get rid of that. I was successful only because God accepted me for my goodness and my intent. And also being the son, not just the son, but I have to say, the favorite or the favored son of the Almighty Mohammed. Yes, I was favored to be named after the man he called God in the flesh. Wallace D. Mohammed. We got postcards from his teacher right now, where his teacher signed. Wallace D. Didn't even put Muhammad. Wallace D. That's all he got on the postcard, Wallace D. And sometimes he put W.D. and F. or Farrar. W.D. Farrar. That's how he signed his correspondence to my mother, to my father, and to my father's brother, Kalat, who was supreme captain in the time of Farrar. He sent them cards. And I didn't ask for those cards. My cousin, the son of my uncle Kalat, brought me cards that his father had and showed them to me. And my mother, before she passed, she said, son, I want you to have these. And she gave me some cards from him. And one of the cards, I'll tell you exactly what it said, sister, the new child has come, the new delivery, something like that, has come. I can't remember exactly what it was, a new child, a new baby, a new delivery. It wasn't baby, but he said, has come, I know that. And he said, you promised to name him, you promised to give him my name. Says, take good care of him. That's what he's saying. This is the teacher of my father, writing this on a card to my mother. And that was not the only card he sent, asking about me and telling her how to take care of me. Now, my father was in prison. My mother took me to see him maybe 2 or 3 times. I know 2 times. He was in prison in Milan, Michigan. Milan Federal Correction Institution. Prison. Federal jail. Federal prison. And one time, she came to me, she said, Wallace, your father said something from the Quran and he wants me to read it to you. And she read it to me. And he said that he wants me to give it to you. And she gave it to me, the paper that it was on. And it was Luqman's advice to his son. And look, the words from Luqman, the chapter Luqman, advising his son. I won't give it all to you to save time. I'm just going to give you the part that was for me, that he gave to me. If anyone strives with you to get you to believe of me, this is God speaking, that for which you have no knowledge base, in the world. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. Strong against shirk or false worship, but putting the mother up high. That if your mother wants you to believe something that's wrong of me, don't follow it if you have a knowledge that's against what she's telling you. But still keep good company with her in the Word. Oh, I could love that God. I'm telling you, if I could love that God as a human being, I would be kissing him eternally. Feet and all. I'd be kissing him eternally. I wouldn't have no time to do anything but kiss him eternally. That's what my love is for God. A God like that. Yes. So I was given that as a child, and I'm a small child. I was younger than my son here. This is the youngest of our children. He's sitting here now, Mohammed. He looks small for his age. He's 10 years old. He'll be 11 in July 6th, pretty soon. And I'm going to have a nice birthday present for you. He'll be 11 pretty soon. Praise be to God. And so I was younger than he is, maybe about 5 years or so. But I recall that very vividly. As though it just happened yesterday. I recall my mother giving me that. Now that came from my father. His teacher said those things about me, to my mother to take care of me. How could a child not love a man that was a stranger, came from another country, but came and talked to my father and won my father's heart, won my mother's heart, taught my mother how to cook himself. You know, my mother was taught by Mr. Farad himself how to cook the foods that we used to eat and that many of us still eat. Brown rice and all that, bean soup and all that. He taught my mother himself. He was in the kitchen. He's the one that taught my mother. So how can a son not love that person that did that? And a father who's locked up and sent a son by the hand of his mother, words like I shared with you. Do not follow your parents. That's how it goes in Luke. It says, if your parents strive with you to have you associate with me, that which you have no knowledge base, don't follow them. But keep good company with them in the world. That means for the rest of their life. As long as they're living, you're supposed to keep good company with them. That's a wonderful God. Now, my father said that to me. Don't you know I had to be thankful to him? Don't you know that endeared me to him more than anything else that he had done? Because actually, I didn't have a father in my house until I was 13 years old. No father in my house, except through my mother, or with my mother. And believe me, she kept him more present than he could have been if he was there physically. When he came and started living with us after imprisonment, we had it easy. Yeah, he was mild. She didn't have to enforce the law for him. You know, he was there, you know. And she could relax a little bit. I said a little bit. She was still, as she said, I'll put the skin off your bones. She was still to be feared. Though he was there, a milder man, much milder human being, much milder human being. Yes. So I'm sharing this with you so you can see better me. If you see me better, then you can accept me better. I'm not after money. I've never been. And I want you to know my father was not after money except for a cause. He's never been. I've seen the ring, I saw fancy diamond pin on his tie once. And he was conscious of me and I was conscious of him. When he noticed that I was looking at it, he gave me a sign, didn't say a thing. gave me a sign with his face to tell me, I'm not, son, this is not me. I'm not impressed with this thing. He didn't have to say a word with his mouth. And I was very comfortable. He had fancy cars, Cadillacs, new Cadillacs, but never was he attached to those things. I'm telling you something about Don Muhammad that you need to know. He was never attached to those things, but he fooled that new group. He pretended like this is, oh yes, we're being put now in heaven, brothers. This is the heaven God promised us. No, that was not him. He was fooling the new leaders so he could use them to help him build the business to impress our people to come and join the Nation of Islam. I had to do the same thing. When I started off, I had to use people that I was not compatible with. I had no likeness. I found in them nothing of the spirit that was in me. But I had to use them to give support for what I wanted to do at that time. And that is change it, bend it until it was straight enough to leave it alone. And they were there to help me bend it because they were sent among us to destroy what we had before. So they used me and I used them. The only difference, I used them up and they didn't use me up. And most of them, when they saw that I gotten all out of them that I needed or wanted, they respected me so much. A big one, maybe the biggest one among them, in the leadership, he said to me, he said, Minister, Supreme Minister, they called me back then. He said, Supreme Minister, I don't want to hurt you. I know what you want to do. I see what you're doing. So I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to just go. I'll just leave. And he left. He said, if anything you ever need from me, just call. Just ask me. Now that was a man that I pray God keep him and bless him with a good life here and hereafter. That was a strong and honorable man. Another one almost as big as he was trying to get me to take on a style, a fancy style as a leader, wear fancy robes looking like Christian ministers' robes, that wear those big old bishop robes, those big old robes and stuff. So I pretended to go along for a while. But when I got a chance to actually have him tailor that robe for me, I had to let him know, I can't. And he was trying at the same time, giving me all kind of high books on the high science and Christian and religion and the mysteries of religion and stuff, because he had taken such courses like that in college. That was his qualification as a college graduate. He was qualified in religious symbols and mysteries of religion, Christianity. So he's giving me all these big books. So he came with this other big man once, with a big old book like this, after coming with one big like that before, come with another big like that. So I had to stop him. I said, those are not the books. I say just a little portion of the Quran is more than you have in all those books. That's what I told them. I didn't get any more of that stuff from them. They stopped. They respected me. So anyway, this one told me, now out of the clear blue sky, we in the secretary's office, we just working. He just out of the clear blue sky looked at me, and I could see the dislike in his eyes. He said, go on and go blind, man. Not a word said between him and that day on anything like that, on their business. He looks me in my eyes and said, go on and go blind, man. He left and never came back. I didn't say a word to him. What was I to say to him? He was telling me to go and go blind. I wouldn't say anything to him. It's finished with him. I can't help you. to help me. So he left and never came back. I prayed for him too, that God will give him good, and maybe one day he'll come this way. Yes, I do. Because his rejection of me was not personal. He was an agent with a job to do. And certainly my rejection of him was not personal. I'm an agent too, with a job to do. Praise be to Allah. I could hear somebody saying something. I don't care what you say. I don't even have time for it anymore. God has brought me into the field of great works. I don't have time for that anymore. Yes. So that gives you a picture of my father. My mother, I can describe her in one sentence. She lived and died for W.D. Farrar and her husband, Elijah Mohammed. Praise be to Allah. Nature doesn't give us strong, special people like that often. They don't come often. So I want to end this first part of my talk to you, or presentation to you today, with this. I'm happier now as your leader than I've ever been. It's rejoicing time now. The bad times, the troubled times has gone. It's rejoicing time now. Praise be to Allah. But it's not time to drop our guard. Rejoicing time is a time when you, if you're wise, the time when you should be most alert. Because while you're rejoicing, Shaitan will come in and do his thing. Brothers come in the egg meat market. I'm really thankful to Allah for that facility, and very proud of it and us that we had the money to get it and equip it. Not through equipping it, but we made a good start. They come in there and they see me with the apron on, cutting the meat up or something. In the 50s, might have been close to 1960. Whatever time Minister Farrakhan joined the Nation of Islam, that's where it was. He came on a Savior's Day to Chicago, as all of you did, who were out of Chicago. We were there. And he came to the restaurant. At the time, I was the manager of the restaurant. But how did I get to be the manager of that restaurant? My father started me off on 31st and Redwood with my brother, slaughtering live chickens. Yes, we slaughtered our own chickens. Back then, under our Elijah Mohammed. And you know what he told us to say before we cut the throat? He told us to say, Bismillah. He said, then say, now he didn't have the whole thing, but what he had knowledge of, he used it. He gave it to us. He said, say Bismillah. He said, and then say, creature, if you can save your life, save it. My brother Elijah, who was assistant supreme captain, he was the one, Elijah and me, slaughtering the chicken. gutting them, scalding them, cleaning the feathers off, and then gutting them and cutting them up. That's what we did when I was about 14 years old. No more than 14, 15 years old. So you see where my experience comes from? Way back there, I don't know, like a man who knew nothing about running a store, a restaurant, knew nothing about cutting meats. He was no butcher. But he had the courage to go and get the knowledge and do it. And let me tell you, the first cuts he put in the cage, I saw them as a teenager. They look as beautiful as any cuts I ever seen in any grocery store. God Elijah Muhammad cuts that he made. So what is that doing for me? God working through my father to affect me, to get me to be the person I should be for the job that's coming. So how did it affect me? If I got to do something, I'm going to do it. And I don't care what I have to do to get it done. Short of displeasing God, I'm going to do it. God knows that He had given me a spirit. If I wouldn't freeze to death, I could tumble through 300 miles of snow, 20 feet high, with a teaspoon, if I had to. That's me. I'm not exaggerating. If I didn't die, I could keep at it until I get to that 300-mile place where I'll be out of that high snow and ice. I could do that. And I got some people who close around me. They will say, yeah, he'll do it. He'll live or he'll die trying to tunnel through that ice and snow. That comes from my father and my mother. Both of them were tenacious people, of a tenacious will. Tenacious means holding together, refusing to come loose. Tenacious. Tenacious will and spirit. My mother and my father. Now why is all that? Why God had it that I have mama and daddy and I come out like them in their determination to succeed? For you. He didn't do that for our family. He did that for you. Can you understand that? One of us, or family of us, we don't need that kind of exceptional person. We can make it with just a little bit of what my father and mother had. But to get the whole people to go where they're supposed to go, you need that extraordinary willpower and determination, tenacious spirit and will. You need that. So God created my mother and father and me for you. Now you gonna tell us that? I can't understand you. He didn't do it for us, he did it for you.
That's why we love you.
That's right.
And he didn't get you just for us. He got you for the rest of the world. If when they see what we accomplished from where we came from, the whole world will be affected. If there's anything powerful enough to straighten the Islamic world up, the international Islamic world up, it's you. You. And if we affect the Islamic world, the international world of Islam, in a way to make them straighten up and fly right, oh, the time of Mohammed is going to come back to this earth. And thank God we don't have to shed blood. The world is much more civilized and humane than it was way back there. It'll be easy. Easy. And God will do it with us or without us. But I know He has chosen us. He didn't choose Elijah Muhammad, He chose us. And He didn't choose Wallace, He chose us. We cannot stop now. Praise be to Allah. This is no small thing. No small thing. My father was not a prophet. He was not a messenger of God that got revelation like Mohammed or the messengers and prophets of God. In fact, he told you, I didn't get mine that way. I got mine from a man, from God in flesh, in person. And you know, what he said was wrong and what he said was right. If a man gives his whole life and purpose to God, then God is in that man. God is in his flesh. You hear what I'm saying? Well, where you have the Quranic proof, where you have proof of that? I wouldn't say it if I didn't have it. God knows I kill myself before I lie against the Quran. Allah says in the Quran that he, where is he? He said he hovers between a mortal. That means a flesh and blood person. And his heart. And his heart. So if he hovers between my body and my heart, he's inside me. He's inside me. He's inside me, keeping me, preserving me. And you know, all the great religions of the book and Quran and Islam, which is established by the Quran and Muhammad, the Prophet, peace be upon him, say that God is everywhere. Allah says he wants us to give our attention and our focus to the house, the holy sacred house built by Abraham and his son Ishmael. Ibrahim and Ismail, the two prophets, father and son. But it says also in the Quran, whichever way you turn yourself or your face, there you will find the face of God. So whichever way I turn, he said whichever way, that is God. He is everywhere. He's more present than space. Because space changes. God does not. Space is weakened depending on what's there. God does not. So actually he's more present than space itself. God. And I know, when I tell my son, I want my son to know that they get the best. I don't want him to get the second or weak dose or message of Islam. I want him to get the best. He could tell you, I didn't have to tell you that. Muhammad could have told you that. He could have told you. You ask him, is God inside you? You say, yes. Is God in the sky? Yes. When we say Allahu Akbar, we're saying Allah is bigger. He's bigger than the universe. He's bigger than all that you can see. And yet, as the Old Testament says, isn't it wonderful? You who's too big for the heavens of heavens to hold, dwells right here in this small place. Isn't that wonderful? Praise be to Allah. This is necessary. If it wasn't, I wouldn't do it. Now, before I go further, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I want to say this to you. The money world is a cross, a C-R-O-S-S. The money world is a cross. On it, lives are crucified. We don't have our hopes in money. Money is only a means to an end. We want our families to be calm. We want our children to come to have a better condition in this world than we have. And we want to finance this religious community. So it will have what it needs to be the strong and beautiful Quran, Muslim community following the Quran and Muhammad's way of life under God alone. That's what we want. We can't do it without money. Believers want a religious community that they can feel good about. And just like the poorest one of us like to dress up nicely, we want to dress our community up nicely. We don't want our schools in a condition that shame us.
Right.
Not to mention how it shames the Quran and Muhammad's way. We don't want our messages, our centers, shaming us. We don't want our teachers shaming us. We have to bring everything up to par so that we feel good when we look at it and we can celebrate our accomplishments.
That's right.
To do that, we have to have money. And I'm not the leader that will allow, with my endorsement or with my consent, your leaders that claim to be following me to oppress you and treat you like you're pack animals or slaves. I won't accept that. So if I won't accept that, how are we going to get the money? You don't have enough money for them to put them in nice cars, nice living quarters, and dress them up nicely. You're poorer than they are. You don't have enough money for that. So we got to get the money, and the only way I know to get it is the way the world has gotten it. Business. Business. We have to be business. We have to have business sense, and we have to do business in a business way. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We cannot lose if we hold on to Allah. Christianity says, Judaism says, Christianity says, Islam says, God will never break off from you. You have to break off from Him. He will never break off from you. And then God revealed in the Quran, says, hold, catch on, grip it, and hold on to the cable, the rope that God sent down to you from heaven. A firm hold that will never break. A firm handhold for you that will never break. Now you know, God created us to be born just like animals. Animals of the womb that are tied to the mother by the, we used to say navel cord, umbilical cord, or navel cord. In this first awakening that we have as human beings, we are tied to Mother Nature. That's a sign of how we're tied to Mother Nature, the way God tied us to our mother while we were in her. We're tied to Mother Nature the way we are tied to our mothers that give birth to us. And we can't have life except from her body while we are in her body. Likewise, those who are still under the grip of nature and have not awakened to God's plan for human beings, they are tied to the navel cord of Mother Nature. And they cannot get any life except from the material world and its nature. God has to reveal it to them. And like the new baby has to be separated and then take in the breath outside of his mother, we have to be separated from this dependency on natural life in the natural world, to latch on to God, to grab a new cord. The new cord is not flesh and blood. The new cord is spirit. The Spirit of God that comes down from high and connects us to him so we can feed on the vine and open up our minds and souls and hearts to a new reality and follow the best of his service. Isn't it wonderful? God has done that for us. So let us wake up and respect what he's done for us. You know, sometimes a great thing can be done for you, and you fail even to thank the person that did it. Maybe they died, and then you start to think back on what happened, and you start to weep and cry because you didn't thank them like you should have. Too late, they're gone. Now, it will never be too late to thank God, except that you die, because God is always existing and ready to hear your thankfulness. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulid. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. God revealed over 14 centuries ago to Mohammed, the seal of the prophets, the mercy to the world, telling him and us who follow him to say, he, the God, is one alone. The God is eternal, resisting any attempt to affect him or to change him. Never did he give birth to a son, and never was he born a son. And there never exists anything that can be compared with him. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And that is called by a name that's not in the text. It is called the unity, but unity is not in the text. It means that if we accept this alone can unite us. If we accept it, if we accept that picture, that idea of God, that alone can bring us together in unity. Allahu Akbar. It is also called Ikhlas, al-Ikhlas. Surah al-Ikhlas. But where's Ikhlas in the text? The Arabs, when they finish with a discussion, or they finish with something, and they're tired of just prolonging it, like some of you are with my talk here. No, I'm not holding you. I'm not holding you. God is holding you. I'll let you go anytime you get ready. Go to the washroom, go out, go back home, go play. God knows. I'll let you go anytime you get ready, and not offended, will love you still.
We love you, man.
Praise be to Allah. But Allah is holding you and holding me. I can't rush it up, and you can't rush it up.
Take your time. Take your time.
Praise be to Allah. So it's called Surah al-Ikhlas. And the Arabs, when they finish with something, they say khalas, from the same root. Khalas. They mean finished, concluded, nothing else to be said or done. So they appropriately gave this name to this chapter, and it's very appropriate for it. Because the logic here says, it's finished, there's no more to be said. Now what many learned leaders of Islam, scholars and imams, muftis and everything in the Islamic world don't know is this that I'm going to tell you right now. The Bible ends with Revelation said, it is done, finished. But it wasn't done. It was not finished. Allah had to give the Quran and this surah that finishes the discussion about who is God, what is God, where is God, finishes it. Praise be to Allah. Now God also says, أليس له الخلق والأمر. This is another trouble spot for theologians, for wise people in religion. Now God, you acknowledge that God made all this. The skies, the earth, all the natural things, and the human beings that he created to also be creators. You hear what I said? The human beings he created to also be creators. Well, where you get that from, Brother Imam? And he, Allah, Ahsan Khaliqin. He is the best of creators. Yes. So that's telling us that Allah made other creators. He's just the best of the creators. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. Say, well, what has man created? Goods, comforts, and a lot of other things on that side, and hell. Now, I'm going to address this to you, brothers. I'd like to call you my co-workers, imams in this community. You imams and leaders. God knows that there's nothing I want to give you except peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. When I say that, it's not just a greeting that I'm not conscious of. I wish you to have peace, and I wish you to be responsible or obligated to keep the peace. Yes, I do. There is another chapter in the Quran. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. For the protection of the Quraysh, the tribe that Muhammad the Prophet was born, that was his tribe. Its protection is assured over winter and summer. The two extremes, winter and summer. Winter brings death to the earth, the crops, and the warm weather brings the life back again. The extreme of both can be very harmful and punishing. Extreme cold can be punishing. Extreme heat can be punishing. The cold will kill your work. The farmer, the agriculturist. The cold will kill your work, but also the heat will kill your work. Dry it up. And grass is the most tender and vulnerable to these changes. When the heat comes, the grass will die sometime within a night, or a day and a night. You go out and look at your grass, it's turning yellow. Too much heat, dried it up, it starts to die. And they call us the grassroots, don't they? And they put us in the heat. They want us to be in the high heat all the time to make sure that we have no production. No production. In the heat of lust, lust for women, for sex, lust for money, lust for just playtime. They put us in the lust for life to burn us up so we cannot have any production. Burn the life out of us. And we are grass only because we haven't been fed to get the life that God intended for us. That second life, that second breath of life. Once you get that second breath of life, you're not grass anymore. You're a much higher creation than grass after you get that second life. Praise be to Allah. So that for the protection of Christ through winter and summer, the extremes of life that kill you and kill your production. Says, therefore, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. Therefore, serve, worship the Lord of this house. Now, the house built by Abraham and his son Ishmael, the descendants of Ishmael is accepted to be, known to be and accepted to be the Arabs. The Arabs. So this is saying to the Arabs, it was your father whose father was Abraham who built this house. And this house is the reason why you are protected from the extremes of winter and summer. Pilgrims were coming there before Muhammad the Prophet. Pilgrims came there because that house had lost its meaning and connection with God in the right way, but it still was a connection with God. Only with 369 gods, so history said, that they had placed in that house 369 household gods. Some were said to give them better crops. If you prayed to them, their crops would be better. If you needed rain, pray to this one, the rain will come. If you need money, pray to this one, money will come. If you need healing, pray to that one, healing will come. So they had a God for almost everything. If you want the land to bear more, pray to that one, the God of fertility, the land will bear more. But they had that kind of attachment to that house, and their gods were in that house. And because they all shared that belief, they all would come once a year to make circles around that house, just as we do now. The only thing, they didn't have the dignity that we have. They thought it was nice to go around the house in the nude. So they would go around the house in the nude, naked. This is history. They would go around the house in the nude. What that means? What that tells us about them and that house? It tells us that they believed that house was the beginning of creation for human beings. That house was represented housing the first life of human beings. And the first life of human beings is naked. Right. The baby is the first life of human beings. And the baby comes here naked. So they saw that house as the house that protected the first human being, the most ancient of houses. I could tell you a lot on that house. All right. So God is saying through Muhammad to his people, the Arabs, he's saying to them, you didn't do this yourself. God blessed you with this good situation. But you got a house, you've lost the purity of it, but you still got the house, and it brings all of you from distant places once a year to this place. And that's how you survive the winters and the summers. The extremes of the winters and the summers. The merchants would get rich once a year like they do now. The merchants would get rich for doing every pilgrimage. They would get rich. because people are coming in, they have to stay there for the duration of the time of our pilgrimage, and they have to have food, they have to buy things, so the merchants will be ready. Big bazaar. And the food will be there and everything, and they're paying for it. They're paying even for water. Like some of them right now, they charge you for water. You don't have to pay them, you can go to Zam Zam and get your own water. But for convenience, if you're real thirsty, you buy the water. You say, well, how much $1? Give them $1. Oh, the never. So God gave them that security from the extremes of life, cold winters and summers that burn up your production. So God is reminding them of that, so they would listen to Muhammad and respect where he's coming from. And this was not the only chapter or the only piece of revelation that caught the Arabs' attention, but this was a powerful piece of revelation from God that caught the Arabs' attention. Now you may say, well, this revelation is not to Arabs. You're correct. It's to all of us, because all of us live in the extremes of winter and summer. And God has given all of us original, innocent, virgin nature, that if we return to it, we can have a good life that will protect us from the extremes of winter and summer. Because when you love your original creation that God made, not a lying human being, a truthful human being, not a rebellious human being, an obeying human being. Every baby comes here, not lying to us, but being truthful, with his affections and everything else. The baby doesn't like you, ain't gonna hug and kiss you until he learns psychology and lying from us. That baby won't hug and kiss you, that baby will reject you. And when he gives you its affection, it's true and sincere. When you return to that nature, you have protection from the extremes of winter and summer. So this is a sign to all of us. The Kaaba is a great sign. The house is a great sign to all of us. Go back to the first social life and nature that God created for you, and you will have the life that you can build upon. Build and build and build. And you can stretch out from there. Because if you stay in that life, human beings all over the world can connect up with you. Because that's the life God gave them originally too. Innocent life, truthful life, not hypocritical life. So if you stay in that life, eventually the whole world can connect up. Because that's the life he gave every human being before they were Asian, African, European, black, white, and other colors. He gave them that life. They are born human before they are born in any other identity. And if you will stay in that original purity of the human he created, you can connect up with the world of mankind. And all of you can have protection from the extremes of winter and summer. We can't stop now. They'll have to kill me and all those who with me. We will not stop now. They couldn't stop us before. Now that I got the second breath of life, you're wasting your time. الذي أطعمهم من جوع وأمنهم من خوف. The one who made them, who fed them against hunger, and who made them safe or secure from fear. Isn't that wonderful? And you know, when we hunger, we start to be afraid for our life. Oh, I'm going to die if I don't get something. Right? Hunger and fear goes together. The extremes of the one gives you the extreme of the other. Replying to the Pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Pharaoh got to be so mighty with his people and his nation and their building, their great building works. He got to be so mighty that he had to begin to think he was the only God existing. And he laughed at Moses and the God that Moses represented. He said, oh, told his builders, build a ladder, scaffold, and let us go up in the sky and see can we find that God that Moses is talking about. Just making fun, you know. Well, Moses responded to him in a certain way. Abraham responded to him in this way. He threatened to cut Abraham off from life. On Abraham, and the prophets be peace, and Abraham said, الذي خلقني سيهديني. He who gave me my creation, or who created me, will guide me, shall guide me. Sayahidini, shall guide me. So with that, he appeals to the intelligence that should be rational intelligence in the Pharaoh. But he also, at the same time, gave a conclusive, emphatic, and conclusive statement to Pharaoh. You're wasting your time with me. I will not be guided by you. You're not going to guide my life. The God who created me is the one that shall guide me. So he was making an emphatic statement to Pharaoh, saying, never will you get me. But at the same time, he was appealing to the intelligence of Pharaoh. He was saying to Pharaoh, guidance comes from the creation of God.